Hi, I'm Christopher, a research software engineer with Research Software Workshops, and it's a very warm welcome to introducing version control with Git Part 12, which is the last part of this workshop. Here we'll be going on a summary and also just reminding ourselves of the Git cheat sheet. The web link for all of the course material is down at the bottom, and if you go to the last summary page, you should have a page that looks something like this. So this is a summary and Git cheat sheet page. And I should say now, definitely congratulations. You've now learned enough about Git to start using it to version control your files and to back them up to a secure location. And as I promised at the beginning, there was only a small number, just 10 Git commands that you needed to learn to become proficient in Git. And indeed, here's the completed Git cheat sheet, which you can refer back to at any time. So we have our 10 Git commands, Git init, that starts version controlling the files in a directory. It initializes Git. You only have to do this once in a directory you're trying to version control. And that will mean that Git will then track the versions of all files and subdirectories and files in subdirectories of this directory as long as you track them. Git status will tell Git to print the status of the files and the directories within the version control directory. And you saw we use that quite a lot in this workshop. Git add will tell Git to start monitoring, to start tracking the versions of the files in the working tree and the working directory. So remember we did git add readme.md to start tracking readme.md. Git commit -a tells Git to store a new snapshot version of all of the tracked files in the working tree in the directory. And we use -a to mean commit all of the files. So we always have like clean snapshots of exactly how that directory was at different points in time. Git diff shows the differences between the files in the working tree and the working directory versus the files as they were in the last version that was saved to Git in the repository. We used Git Checkout as a way either to move our working tree, our directory, back in time to a read-only view of the past, or to bring files from the past forward in time to the present version of the working directory, which we could then commit if we wanted to. Git log was used to view a log of all of the versions that were saved within the repository. Git move, git mv, was used to rename files or move files. Git rm was used to remove files. And then finally git push was used to push new versions saved in the repository from our local .git folder to the .git folder in the backup in our Git hosting service, for example GitHub. So now that you know how Git works on the command line, you are now ready to start using Git within a graphical interface. All of the Git graphical interfaces are really just running the above Git commands that you've now learned. And there are many Git graphical interfaces available, and they're kind of described here. And there are lots that you can choose from. Working on different operating systems, most of them are free, etc. Indeed, it can be difficult to initially choose. GitHub Desktop is a pretty good sort of Git GUI, as is the GitHub mobile app. I personally like using Visual Studio Code because it has a really good integration of Git within a programming environment, and Sublime Merge is also recommended by members of my group, as is Git Cola. If you look at, say, VS Code, so my personal choice is that I will use a command line for typing. I'll also use VS Code, Git integration, and I'll probably also use a bit of the GitHub mobile app when I'm kind of reviewing changes. But the nice thing with this is the Git view here. If I make any changes to the file, as soon as I've saved, it will see and notice that that file has changed. And then if I want to commit it, I just type in the commit message. And then if I do Apple return, it's now committed it. And then when I want to push the backup to my Git repo, my backup, I just do push like that. See, no typing whatsoever. And then I'm just going to get rid of this line, save it. You'll notice again that the file has changed. I'm just going to say reverted the change. There's the commit message. Save that, it's now been committed. And then I do push to then push that back up to my remote Git server. See, very simple. So, as I said, choose the tool that's best for you, play around. You'll find that probably multiple tools for different types of uses will appeal to you. And as I said, most of them are free. Have a play, find the one that works for you. And then we can say, what's next? Well, as I said, this workshop has taught you how to use Git to version control and back up all the files when you're working on your own. So if you're never going to work with someone else, you're never going to share data or share files, then pretty much these 10 commands are all you really need to be using Git properly. Now, one of the real powers of Git, if you remember that world view on the GitHub webpage, is that it has all of these things that enable you to really work well in collaboration with others. It enables you to share files and share versions of files and all work together developing something without clashing with each other. And if you imagine sort of the common thing where you're working on maybe a research paper and you're going to start emailing paper 1, paper 2 with comments, paper 2 with comments fixed by collaborator, paper 3 merged with paper 2 comments, that kind of problem Git solves. And so actually the collaboration tools with Git are very powerful. And so we have a whole workshop which is called Git for Collaboration, which is the next in this series, and that will show you how to use Git and GitHub to work collaboratively with others. It will show you how you can work as part of a team to edit and version control files together. And as I said, think you won't be emailing different versions of things to each other. It's really worth doing. Now, just as some credits at the end, this Introducing Version Control with Git workshop is based on our original Beginning Git workshop, which was developed by myself. All of the text, which is on these websites, is under Creative Commons Attribution 4 license, although this video itself is under the YouTube license. All code snippets you see are MIT. The source for this material can be found on GitHub, because this is all version control with Git, and indeed I'll be doing things like fixing these little typos, etc., and then committing those versions to Git. So you'll see those as they go, and if you do find a typo, you find anything you want to change, please do make a change and kind of send me a pull request, and you'll understand what that means if you do the Git for the Collaboration workshop. So thank you for making your way all the way through this workshop. I hope it's been useful. Hopefully we'll see you at the next one, Git for Collaboration. Goodbye.